Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be covering MUERTA. Specifically, we're going to be going over a carry build from a rank 99 player, so this is a high MMR certified build. And you can see the build is kind of similar to a Furion-esque hero. This is an int hero that I believe can be played as support or carry. I've seen it mostly as support actually, but this build definitely looks like a very legit carry build. And so yeah, we're going to be covering MUERTA and going over this Midas into Treads, Gleipnir. So as I said, very much Furion based. It almost looks like a Lina or a Nature's Prophet build. Into Dragonlance, Pike, after Pike, BKB, into Daedalus. So yeah, very similar to some of the most popular carries of the last patch, and that's probably a good sign. Yes, Gleipnir got nerfed, Maelstrom technically got nerfed. They were both pretty small nerfs, and so this build-up likely is very, very strong at the current moment, and let's get into why it's good on MUERTA. And by the way, subscribe to the channel and like this video. I'm going to be making a builds video for support MUERTA after this one, and on top of that, I'm going to be making a video where I'm going to be covering different builds you can go in the patch. So like if you don't know what you should try for fun and what is good, I actually already have 8 heroes written down. And like, I actually all think they're good. I've been talking to my friends, playing some pubs, and so stay tuned for that as well. All right, let's get into it. Also, I want to tell you guys that if you've been struggling with solo queue and you're looking to get to the next rank, I'm going to be able to help you. Like literally with the Game Leap website, I'm going to give you guys guides that are going to make it unbelievably clear on what you need to do. So if you've been stuck in the solo queue grind, you don't know what to do, and you want to become absolutely broken, but like actually you want to become much better at Dota, and you want to take it more seriously, the Game Leap website is going to help you do that. So click the link down below. I'm going to help you get to the next rank, and I'll see you there. So in the laning stage, he's going for a Null Talisman and a Falcon Blade. One of the problems with this hero, or issues I thought would come about with this hero, is the fact that her Q is 100 mana, which is kind of normal, not terrible, but expensive, and her W is 150 mana at level 1, so pretty mana intensive spells. Thankfully you have a passive, and so it's not the end of the world, but it definitely makes sense that he's queuing up quite a bit of mana regen. From there you're going to skill your Q. Your Q is just going to allow you to secure creeps. The early laning stage is pretty simple. It's going to allow you to bounce this Q off on a melee creep or onto a range creep. And how the ability works is you basically click it on a creep or an enemy hero. You cannot click it on your own heroes, you cannot click it on your allies, or you can click it on a tree, and you can basically bounce it to fear people away from CS and get your own CS. So for instance, he secured that melee creep with it and feared the Tusk in the meantime. It's not that good at level 1, this is definitely not some super broken spell, but it's very good for securing creeps and doing a little bit of damage. From there, he takes his passive at level 2. And what the passive does is every single time you auto attack, you have a 20% chance to fire a second shot, and that second shot will prioritize heroes. So let's say you're pushing in a creep wave with auto attacks, or you're just getting a last hit, you have a chance of harassing the enemy that's in the lane. Also, if a hero is isolated, you will hit them twice. Like you'll literally just double hit them if they're isolated. Unfortunately, one of the things I think they should buff about MUERTA, as we just saw it there, is if you hit, let's say you're hitting Tusk, and when you're hitting Tusk, you proc, it will just hit a nearby creep. You would kind of hope it would hit Tusk twice. It doesn't, unfortunately. It will if there's nothing around, and that's pretty cool, and we'll see that later on into the game. One of the very cool applications of MUERTA is pushing the enemy into you. I really think this is going to be an undervalued usage of the hero. It's kind of like, it's almost like a skewer under tower. So as you'll see in this clip here, he's actually going to Q the wave and bounce it back towards them. And that's really awesome because it's going to push the Tusk out of position, right? Obviously Tusk is sort of trying to kill Ogre, so maybe he should have bounced it off the tree and pushed Tusk away in this case. You know, it has a lot of use cases though. And this is something I honestly, when I first read the hero, I thought it was like completely useless, but I will admit, being able to push people in certain directions is always a very valuable resource in Dota. And it's on a 10-second cooldown at max for 2 seconds. So it really pushes them very, very quickly towards you. And you'll see that puts the Tusk far up here and forces out a snowball. Unfortunately, they don't end up getting the kill. It is what it is, but still, cool execution of the spell. Now let's quickly check out a clip of him getting a double kill. I will admit, I think his skill build is, I think it's okay. You know, I actually think the calling is not a terrible ability. It's really good for farming stacks and pretty good at pushing out creep waves because the ghosts will consistently go through it and do damage, at least as far as I'm concerned. However, in this clip here, you'll just kind of see the kiting power of MUERTA. Because of the fact that you can fear, he bounces the Q off the tree, pushes the Tusk away, and keeps himself alive. From there, they try to shard him in, but they don't get him immediately, and eventually they're going to turn onto the bounty hunter and kill him off. So right here, the bounty hunter is going to overextend. He actually, he missed the fear and it hit the tusk. That's so funny. But yeah, he's just going to start to auto-attack the bounty. And anytime you get that E proc, it's a double hit, right? And a double hit in the early laning stage is a lot of damage, right? It's simply just going to do a lot of damage as the Ogre Magi is going to save him up here. They'll eventually be able to chase, and the Q does slow briefly. It kind of doesn't because the fear speeds them up, but it initially slows, so it sort of allows them to close the gap, and they get a double kill. One of the important things to note about this hero is that the ulti can save you from ganks. We'll see in this clip here, as he gets ganked, he sees it approaching, snowball coming in, and I don't believe it actually amps the magic damage you take. It says you are immune to physical damage, but it doesn't seem to amp magic damage whatsoever, and that's a big buff, so it certainly is an ability that's very good defensively. A 6-second duration, pretty impressive. We'll see here, the Tusk misses, the puck misses orb, so he should have died here, but it is what it is. Hitting for a bonus 50 this early into the game is quite powerful, and if you double proc on people, they get destroyed when your ultimate is active. So you'll see in this clip here, kind of the general farming efficiency of this hero. It's not bad. Honestly, it's pretty good. He has a bit of a stack here. He's gonna pull it over to the small camp, using the tree line to bounce the Q, and it's gonna hit all of the creeps, right? Only on a 10-second cooldown, definitely not bad. Kind of reminds me of Medusa Snake. I mean, there's a bunch of abilities that can do something similar, but it's not bad, right? The efficiency is okay. I will admit you'll have some sustain issues, so it's a real blessing if you can get Possessed Mask. Like, this is definitely the best item you can get on this hero. You certainly need a bit of sustain when you're going an item build like this. And from there, yeah, he's just gonna jungle it up. Because of the fact that the E procs 50% of the time and allows you to double attack, you definitely farm quickly with procs, especially the Maelstrom procs, right? You're gonna see once he picks this up, which he's getting now, he's very, very farm, right? The 13-minute Midas Maelstrom is extremely farm. But when he gets this, the double hits are going to allow him farm extremely quickly, right? You'll see that the Maelstrom's gonna proc like crazy, wiping through the camps. And yeah, from here, I would play relatively defensive. I definitely think a downside of this hero is your movement speed isn't that good. You don't have the best disengage. Yes, your W can kind of protect you, your Q also can kind of protect you, and your ulti also can kind of protect you, but you definitely can die to stuff like, let's say, the Disruptor in this game and the puck. So I would be relatively nervous. I would definitely play this hero more like, as I said, a Lina and a Nature's Prophet, where you don't play the lane for that long. You don't just sit in the lane and try to defend the tower. You can see he gives up the safe lane tower, and if you're a safe lane player, you should, in my opinion, play the exact same way. Look to stack Ancients and farm it up with your Q and your auto attacks, because as I said, it's pretty fast. Oh, his Ancients are blocked. Another cute item that he queues up but doesn't buy is the Witchblade. It definitely makes sense. You're an int hero, so the Witchblade will do a lot of damage. You have a pretty big lacking of armor on this hero, right? Only 8 right now, 14 minutes in is pretty bad for a carry. Once again, very, very similar to Alina. So you certainly have an armor problem. I can see Witchblade being very, very good. Maybe if you're playing like a mid build or a offlane build, I would imagine Witchblade is probably one of the best, if not the best item you could buy on this hero because of the armor, the attack speed, and the int doing bonus damage with the passive. Now we'll see in this fight here, the hero just does quite a bit of damage and the fear is very hard to react to. It's on a very low cooldown. He'll set up on the puck with the tree line Q, and that's going to allow them to get in position, and he'll drop the silence. The silence, this area, it slows, and these ghost things, they do quite a bit of damage and they silence, so it actually ends up silencing the puck. And yeah, this hero kind of just like chain disables because of the fact that the ring slows, your Q fears, and it silences, they just get stuck. And that's kind of why you're also going to queue up the Gleipnir. It's going to allow you to keep them in, I believe it's called the Calling. Yeah, it's going to allow you to keep them in the Calling, which we'll see a bit later on. I want you guys to see how much damage this hero does to single target heroes and why it can be a good carry. You'll see in this clip here with pretty limited damage items, right? We're really just talking about a Maelstrom. He's gonna pop his ult, giving him 75 added damage. It makes your autos do magic damage, which isn't necessarily a good thing. I actually think one of the ways to counter MUERTA is number 1, BKB. You actually take no damage if she ulties, which is, in my opinion, really stupid and should be changed. Whatever. And Pipe is like a hard MUERTA counter. She's like all magic damage when she's in her ulti. Q is magic, W is magic. You're proccing Maelstrom if you go this build, your ulti's then magic, so I think that's going to be a bit of an issue when people figure out the hero. Bit of a heads up, but for now, no one's going to build Pipe against you, no one's going to think about it that way, so you should be fine. But yeah, as I was saying, he TP's in here, and look at this puck's HP, right? 1 time speed, just one, gets 1 proc on the E, and oh my, because he's hitting for 200. the guy just dies. Like, it's actually insane how fast you burst, and there was no tree line around, so he couldn't even fear the puck into a calling, which would have done even more damage. One thing I've definitely noticed about MUERTA is she's very good against the mobility heroes. Because of the fact that she has a fear and a slow, and in this case, even a root with the Gleipnir, she's just a very, very hard counter to the pucks, the embers, the void spirits. Like, super annoying for these heroes. Look at the damage on the bounty, just ripping him to pieces. Like, absolutely shredding him, and the puck gets stunned up here, and right, you're just a carry that has the follow-up. He silences him with the W, which, how long of a silence is that? 3 seconds, not bad, and then follows up with the fear, getting a kill. Beautiful execution. And oh, he gets so lucky, the Grove Bow. What a perfect item. If you can get the Grove Bow, no doubt. Honestly, you take Grove Bow over most tier 3 items, easily. 15% magic amp, considering it amps your ulti, is incredible. Easily the best neutral item. And once you get your timing, you're just very tanky and very survivable due to the fact that you can't be damaged by physical auto attacks. Like, I kind of underestimated, once again, I really underestimated this hero. Like, super underestimated, because he gets ulti by Disruptor here, not looking good. But, oh, look at the damage. He got 1 proc, double hit the guy, and Gleipnired him, and it just took away like all his health. But he gets snowballed on. Very, very tanky with the Gleipnir Hurricane Pike build. Part of the reason this is such a meta build on Furion and Lina, it just makes you very, very tanky on these int heroes. And yeah, he's going to end up living the burst, getting off his ulti. No auto attacks can come out from the Tusk. He also just pumps damage. Hitting for 325 at this point is just crazy. So one really funny thing that I was told, and it's true, about MUERTA is when you ulti and then BKB, you are immune. Like, you're just immune to like any types of damage. I guess there's some like pure piercing spells that can go on you, but you're actually immune to like 90%, 95% of Dota's damage, which is pretty cool. And one of the most important things to remember about MUERTA is that she completely counters Ghost Scepter. Funny enough, this game is the perfect example. The Disruptor buys a Ghost Scepter because he's against also a Luna offlane and a TA, so he's itemizing Ghost Scepter. You know, there's like 3 right-click carries. However, MUERTA's ulti allows her to hit through Ghost Scepter. Also in this case, Puck bought an E-Blade, and in this fight, it's actually the perfect example. He's gonna walk in pretty confident, right? He's got lifesteal with a Paladin Sword. I actually think he should have kept Grove Bow unironically, but whatever, that's another discussion. But yeah, he has 2700 HP, BKB ready, gets gone on, he's just fine, right? I don't even know why they go on him here. It was frankly a huge mistake. He pops his ult, Tusk can't even punch him in that case, as far as I'm concerned. And look, this guy's just dead, 1 shot, 700 damage, onto the Puck next. Oh, look at that burst! Oh my, I mean, to be fair, he's like very, very far, right? Don't get me wrong, this is definitely a game where he's owning, but like, I mean, he one-shot that Puck. All right, and finally, to basically end up the video, we're gonna see a fight where he just obliterates the enemy team, like completely destroys them. I mean, this fight makes the hero look absolutely broken. It really does. It really does. Okay, so he's gonna walk in. Optimally, you're looking to just fear into your silence in a lot of cases. That's what he seems to think. So he's gonna drop the fear. It's gonna hit the Tusk, right? Not optimal. Probably wants to focus down the AM here. He's then gonna pop his ulti for 100 base damage. Drops the Gleipnir to root him up. Gonna start auto-attacking, and when the Gleipnir is starting to end, he's gonna pop the Calling, which is then going to silence the AM. From there, he fears the AM, allowing Ogre to stun the AM, and then he's gonna finish him off. From there, Tusk kind of gets trapped in the ring, so he switches on to Disruptor, just quickly, you know, casually 3-taps him, 1 proc on the E, also just destroys the guy. Puck blinks into the Calling like a fool. That's always the advantage of new heroes. People kind of don't know what they do, and will blink into your silence, which is exactly what happens. Puck does E-Blade himself. Unfortunately, his ulti runs out, so he can't focus him down. Silence comes out. Puck dies, gets another auto. AM chases in. Unfortunately, he does get stuck here. Burnt out of mana. But yeah, he's fine. I mean, look at the hero's damage and the hero's control is better than like most carries. That's kind of what I'm seeing. You're more of like as I said, you're very much like Nature's Prophet. The amount of utility you provide with your roots, your sprout, you know what I mean, your calling, your fear, it's very reminiscent of a Furion, but just with less global presence. All right, and that's gonna be all for today's video as they get megas and end the game. Hopefully you enjoyed, and hopefully you are inspired to pick MUERTA. I will admit, I think mechanically she's not that hard. I think the biggest thing is positioning your W where it will silence the enemy. And I think being able to fear into the silence is definitely a bit of a skill. This guy got it down very, very quickly. And I think the Gleipnir makes things a lot easier. The Gleipnir is going to allow you to set up for your Q, it's going to allow you to set up the W and control them, because honestly, while the hero does have a fear and a slow, it definitely lacks a bit of control. So I love this build. I think it makes a ton of sense. And yeah, I'll see you guys in your pubs. Go grief some pubs with MUERTA. Every time I make one of these new hero videos, people are like, speed. My teammates are gonna grief with this. It's like, they're gonna grief no matter what. I'll see you in the next one, and I'm out. Peace. And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the Game Leap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.